Well, a response tonight from the Corpus Christi Police Department about a road rage video that went viral over the weekend. While a couple was driving from Port Aransas, a truck rear-ended them, and that started an hour-long ordeal that ended in Corpus Christi. Our reporter Marissa Cummings joins us in the studio with what police had to say.
That's right, Mackenzie. Police are still actively investigating this case. Meanwhile, they want drivers to know what to do if this happens to you.
According to the police, the couple continued to follow the truck that hit them even after officers were able to identify the driver of the truck. CCPD says to avoid putting yourself in any more danger, once you get the description of the vehicle and the driver, they will take care of the rest.
Once you have that, then that is enough information for us to conduct a follow-up investigation. We don't want people chasing vehicles or trying to take action against the driver.
According to the couple, once the truck driver was stopped by police, he was given a citation for not having insurance.
Is he not being arrested for any assault charges? Like, no. I was like, why not? He's like, well, he's just a bad driver. He's uneducated.
Police say at the time they believe the hit and run occurred in Port Aransas, which is out of their jurisdiction. Later, after a supervisor was called to the scene, more details were clarified.
We have determined that there was a crash that happened in Port Aransas that was a hit and run, and then what appears to be an aggravated assault with a motor vehicle that happened within our jurisdiction, which we're investigating.
Police say if the truck driver is found guilty of aggravated assault with a motor vehicle, he could face jail time.
Police advise if you want to file a complaint about how something was handled by a CCPD officer, you can call 361-886-2627. Marissa Cummings, 3 News. Joe?
Thanks, Marissa.